This is the Lymow 1 Plus robotic lawnmower, the world's first robot mower with dual rotary blades. It costs £3,000, it's packed full of tech, and it is an extremely capable machine.
In some ways, it's the best robot mower on the market, but it also has some problems. It has a lot of problems. This video is sponsored by DJI, who sent me over their Lito X1 drone, so I'll briefly talk about this and what it can do a bit later on.
Let's start off with the positives. The first of those is a design that's come straight out of Robot Wars. This thing is a beefy little tank, and as you'd expect, it's packing the cutting power to match. It has an aluminium frame at its core, these heavy-duty tank-like tracks in the drive system, and it weighs over 35 kilos. It's built like a beast, and it's built to last. It has an IPX6 water resistance rating for weatherproofing, a lifespan of over 2,000 charge cycles, and Lymow offers a 3-year warranty. In the box you'll find the mower and its charging base station, the RTK reference station used for navigation, power supplies and extensions for each of these, a mounting pole and stake for ground mounting, there's also a wall mount option, and finally a detailed user manual and quick start guide.
It all comes meticulously packaged, and unlike some mowers, it feels like a premium device. Everything's built to a high quality standard, so it immediately feels like money well spent.
The next pro is mobility. Those tank tracks allow this mower to traverse over rocky, uneven and slippery terrain without issue. They'll even carry it up slopes of up to 45 degrees and over thresholds 2.8 inches tall. It can cross over branches and other obstacles that would usually cause robot mowers to get stuck. This is definitely one of the more impressive aspects and sets it apart from most of the competition. It's a lot more versatile and can handle a lot more lawn types than your typical mower. The floating cutting deck adapts to changes in terrain and elevation, and it means you get a uniform cut against uneven lawns.
Front-loading the cutting deck also means that the blades get closer to the edges than those razor blade designs that sit in the center of the mower.
This will also be good if you've got a particularly big lawn. The 1 Plus is able to mow up to 1.73 acres in a single day. It can cover so much ground, in fact, that my garden is simply nowhere near big enough to actually test this thing fully. I had to take it to a huge conservation area just to push its limits. It can run for up to 3 hours on a single charge, and with the fast charging docking station, you can get back up to full in just 2 hours, so you don't have to deal with much downtime. It will automatically dock in the station when the battery is low, or when rain is detected, which is pretty smart. There is also a slower 5 amp charging version of the Lymow 1 Plus that's $200 or £200 cheaper, so that might be a good option if you don't need to cover quite so much ground.
Let's talk about the mower's USP though, which is simply its ability to cut grass. And for that, it might be unrivaled.
The world's first dual rotary blade robot lawnmower isn't just a catchy tagline. Those blades are seriously powerful and can cut through even the toughest grass. They're made of high rigidity steel and spin with up to 6,000 RPM. Traditional razor blade style mowers often get stuck where the grass gets too tall or simply can't handle certain types of tougher grass. I've definitely experienced that myself, but Lymow's 1 Plus blitzes through them all easily. For the first time, you've essentially got the cutting power and durability of a regular lawnmower packed into a robot mower that drives itself, and that's why this is such a big deal. You're not going to need to replace these blades as often either, and you can raise the deck to make cleaning nice and easy. For obvious safety reasons, the blades cannot turn whilst the deck is raised. Don't worry, Lymow thought about that. They also stop anytime the mower is lifted from the ground. You can mow and mulch grass and leaves and turn your clippings into natural lawn food. The blades create a strong cyclone of airflow to lift the grass into the blades as it mows, and you're given full control over the cutting height, power, and the mower's speed. The max speed is impressive actually, and far quicker than I could possibly mow myself manually, but I prefer a slower setting for a more stable cut that's less taxing on my grass. You can even set specific cutting patterns by changing the path spacing and choose how you want the stripes it leaves in your lawn to look. I was impressed with the mower's automatic path optimization. With the perimeter mapped out, it knew how to optimize its cutting path from the very first attempt, and it usually turns on a wide turning circle to prevent those heavy-duty tracks from tearing up your grass. This could have been a massive oversight and serious issue, but for the most part, this is handled really well.
As I said at the start, this video is sponsored by DJI. They haven't paid me anything, but they did send me over their new Lito X1, partly to help film this video. It is an extremely good drone for the money, and I put out a short already highlighting the reasons why. Here's what I said about it.
It's classed as a beginner drone, but still has most of the best features of DJI's flagship models. This includes omnidirectional obstacle sensing with forward-facing LiDAR. This makes it safe for nighttime flights and has intelligent braking in front of or bypassing of obstacles. It features active track along with a suite of smart filming modes through quick shots and master shots, so you can film like a pro even as a beginner, as the drone captures stable and cinematic looking shots automatically. The 1/1.3 inch sensor shoots 4K 60fps HDR video. There's also 100fps slow-mo, 2.7K vertical recording, and even 10-bit D-Log-M. So you can preserve the full quality of your video in a log format you can later color grade with the stylistic look of your choice. You get 42GB of internal storage, which you can of course expand with a microSD, a flight time of up to 36 minutes, but crucially, the mass is kept below that all-important 250 grams. All of this is available starting at just £369, which is crazy for a drone packing this much in performance. I'd actually recommend the Lymow combo, where you'll get DJI's premium RC2 controller, an extra 2 flight batteries, a charging hub, and a premium shoulder bag to keep it all safe.
I've just added this to my filming setup, and in terms of value for money, I think it's easily the best drone out there right now. So if you're interested, check it out with the links in the comments and video description.
The Lymow app has good UI and lots of customization options. As companion apps go, it's easy to use, especially when it comes to setting exactly the type of cutting performance you want. You can manage up to 80 different zones here, a total of 15 acres or 60,000 meters squared, and link them together with custom schedules. This is obviously great for more complex lawns, but in my case, I set a channel from my back garden through the side passage and gate and around to the front garden. In theory, once the mower is done cutting the back garden, it can drive itself round to the front to cut there. All completely hands-free, automatic, and very, very convenient.
Emphasis on the "in theory" though. Spoiler alert, it didn't work. More on that later.
You can also use the app to set up an anti-theft geofencing ring. If the mower is taken from this area, it will lock the device, sound the alarm, and notify you. So the live GPS tracking will help with protecting your investment.
The final pro is that you don't need a boundary wire to set this up for navigation. Now, that is typically found with just the older models these days, and whilst it is still clearly a perk, I do feel it's sadly overshadowed by what I found to be a cumbersome setup process. So let's now talk about the cons.
The first has got to be the setup.
Now, I'll caveat this by saying that the setup should, in theory, be a one-time thing. But man, even getting to that point was a real struggle.
The Lymow One Plus uses RTK and VSLAM for positioning and navigation. You have to find a place for the RTK reference station to go, it needs a clear line of sight to the sky, it needs to be able to connect to multiple satellites, and it needs a power supply. You can power it straight from the base station if it's close enough, or you'll need 2 separate power supplies, one for the charging station and one for the RTK.
Having suitable infrastructure for those power supplies, the subsequent cable management, and mounting the station can all present problems in their own right, depending on your situation.
You're supposed to be able to move the RTK station and test the GPS accuracy before confirming its final placement. For me, this process was frustratingly unreliable. Sometimes the accuracy simply wouldn't update even after moving the station some considerable distance. I even powered it off completely just to test it, and there was still no change. Other times it would randomly fluctuate even when it was in a fixed position.
Perfect accuracy one day, awful 10 minutes later, sometimes it worked consistently for days before dropping out again. It was just so unpredictable. Yes, weather can affect the accuracy too, but I had issues even when this wasn't a factor. It just shouldn't have been that difficult. It caused a lot of frustration.
You can't just ignore this step either. Getting the RTK station positioning correct is absolutely essential. If your mower's positioning doesn't precisely match how it did when you set the map, you're going to run into problems.
It can go out of bounds and stop working, enter into no-go zones, your neighbour's garden, and it can leave large areas of your lawn uncut. I had an issue where the mower thought it was 3 meters further down than it really was. It ended up mowing straight through my flower bed, which should have been out of the mowing zone. The issue is, it follows where it thinks it is on the map. It won't correct itself or recalibrate if it sees the boundary of your garden and then update the map.
So you need to get this absolutely right. And the big problem is, that's not always in your hands.
But what's so frustrating is painstakingly, meticulously mapping out your entire garden to be inch perfect, and then starting a mowing session just to find that the mower is now out, inexplicably by a good meter or so, despite the accuracy showing as perfect when you start it.
I now just have to accept that the top of my lawn near my house will never be cut accurately. I have to manually cut this myself, which kind of defeats the whole point. I spent countless hours trying to adjust the map boundary as well, and that process simply failed on me every time. Deleting the map and remapping from scratch is my only option. I also had to accept that the mower can't, in fact, reliably drive itself between my zones, and after one too many crashes straight into my car, good job obstacle avoidance, I've had to abandon the idea that it could drive itself to my front garden and cut there.
The idea of using RTK for positioning is great on paper, and I do love not having to use a boundary wire. You may even get lucky and not run into these issues. Maybe your mowing area is in a nice wide open field with no obstructions and no fluctuations in your GPS positioning. From my experience, I think that's rather unlikely, especially here in the UK. I think most will run into issues like I have. And in any case, Lymow calls this unwavering accuracy, and that's just not been my experience. There's a reason robot mowers are moving towards LiDAR-based systems. I think those are a lot simpler and more reliable.
The other setup difficulty comes from the fact that this mower is so heavy. Yes, there are handles either side of this mower. I fully appreciate why it's so heavy, but 35 kilos is not something most people can lug around easily. The whole thing arrived in a box weighing more than 55 kilos, and it wasn't easy to get this all moved and set up on my own.
Just bear in mind that you can't simply pick this robot up and move it around your garden like you can with most other robot mowers. And sometimes you do need to do this, even after the initial setup.
Obstacle avoidance is the next con, and it's hit and miss. Literally. For larger objects, people, furniture, etc., it's usually fine. Not cars though, as I found out to my own cost. Between the binocular AI vision and the ultrasonic sensors around the mower's body, it will usually detect obstacles in its path and make a sensible detour around them. But occasionally it can still bump into them as it's turning to avoid them, which can be a problem. Other objects, like my washing line I laid across my garden, it just didn't see at all, and I really hoped it would for an object this big. Instead, it relied on the front bumper to tell it couldn't pass, and sadly it slammed into it pretty hard and scraped against it, ripping the cover in the process.
Now, the reason I had a washing line lying across the corner of my garden was because of my single biggest pet peeve with this mower: the no-go zones. In theory, no-go zones are a simple and easy way to tell the mower not to enter a specific area of your garden. But Lymow's solution for this is frankly insane to me. Get this. The way that you set up a no-go zone on the map is by driving the mower into and around that area. Dumb. Not only are you driving it across literally the area you want it to never go in, but in some instances, this is actually impossible.
If you have a fence at the perimeter of your garden, as many households do, most for the UK I would wager, you literally can't set a no-go zone, because the fence obviously stops you from driving the mower there. But a no-go zone can only be set with a complete closed loop that you've manually steered your robot around.
This means that you can't have any no-go zones up against walls and fences, and I think that's a major problem.
This is why I had to lay my washing line down to block off a corner in my garden. I had some fresh grass seed down and wanted to keep it protected. The only way I could tell the mower not to go near this section with the tools Lymow provides was to plough straight through it.
If you're trying to set a no-go zone around a bench right in the centre of your garden with a nice big open area around it, like in all the marketing shots, great, you're fine. But any areas near a wall or fence, you're stuffed.
Likewise, making edits to the map, you can't just use your finger to draw annotations to it. You've got to physically drive the mower to make even the smallest changes. It's just not convenient. Most people, especially those of you watching, are familiar with robot vacuum cleaners, and the standard no-go zone method there is to simply draw a box on the map with your fingers and the robot won't go there.
And that's exactly what I wished so badly was the method available here. It would instantly fix what I can't help but feel is a very obvious flaw. As it stands, no-go zones have some severe, maybe even deal-breaking limitations. Those are definitely the main drawbacks to consider, and I'll fire off some other quick ones that may or may not be important to you.
Like most mowers, this one still can't handle cutting edges if you have a permanent obstacle like a fence. Now this is a common problem, however I mention it because there are competitors now with dedicated edge trimmers. Despite the wide turning circle, the heavy-duty tracks can and will tear up delicate lawns, especially when they're wet. That one should seem obvious, but UK lawns are going to be especially susceptible because of our delicate grass type. In front of the base station gets particularly rough as the mower can pivot on the spot here as it's lining up for the docking procedure. It's best to place the charging base away from your precious lawn for this reason, but that may not be possible. Oh, and the base is obviously large and a bit of an eyesore. The remote control function is a bit fiddly, there are lots of steps, and it doesn't remember your previously used settings. There's also a bug where the deck won't lower despite setting your preferred height. In the end, to get around this, I had to set a different height, start mowing, change it back, and then it worked. It definitely seems like a bug in the app, so hopefully an update can fix this. And we've had a lot of software updates already for this thing. Another annoyance I really hope is a fixable bug is this notification. Robot has unexpectedly stopped charging. This happens intermittently but can be insanely persistent. I've had multiple days of notifications every 30 minutes non-stop. The mower hadn't moved, the charging pins were aligned correctly, no explanation as to why this happens. So just be prepared for an insane amount of these annoying notifications. And finally, perhaps the biggest drawback of all is simply the price. Now, depending on how much you value the OnePlus's features and how useful it will be to you, this may not be a drawback at all.
For some, it's going to be great value for money, save you a load of time and convenience, and will be well worth every penny. But £3,000 or $3,000 obviously puts this on the premium end of robot lawnmowers. Understandably, it's going to be too much for some people to afford.
I've learned a lot testing Lymow's OnePlus robot mower over these past few months, what it's capable of and what its limitations are, and your specific situation will dictate how much each of those plays a part. It became very clear why this is geared towards an American audience with those larger open field lawns. There's a reason why that's what you'll see in the marketing.
This mower may struggle in a lot of smaller, typical UK gardens, for example, especially with our grass type. If your garden is near to your building or has a fence around it, which honestly I think is the vast majority of UK households, then you're probably going to run into problems.
In fairness though, I think those gardens don't realistically need a robot with as much sheer cutting power, versatile terrain traversal, or the lengthy battery life that this mower offers. That's not what this was designed for. It's simply overkill for some gardens.
The flip side to that, of course, is that this might be the only robot mower capable of handling your lawn. As I said, I'm not sure there's anything else out there that can match Lymow's cutting performance.
You'd be hard-pressed to find anything that can traverse as many different terrain types or climb slopes like this one can. For all of its flaws, there are aspects to this mower that make it not just very good, but arguably the very best robot mower on the market.
But there you go, that's been my experience, and you've heard what I think are all of its strengths and everything you should consider as a potential drawback. Hopefully that helps you answer the question, is the Lymow One Plus going to be your next robot mower?
If this video was helpful, please give it a like. If you have any further questions, just let me know in the comments. Do subscribe if you want to see more content like this, but make sure you've hit the notification bell so you actually get told when new uploads go live. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll hopefully see you in the next one.